So who says school has to happen at a desk?
Our family of 6 decided to hit the road for a 7,000-mile homeschool adventure across the country, and what we discovered completely changed the way we learn.
From towering mountains to endless deserts, each stop became a real-life classroom for our kids, and the wins just kept on stacking up.
In this video, we're sharing the 5 biggest wins our family discovered while learning on the go. Practical, fun, and maybe a little surprising.
If you've ever wondered how to make learning exciting, this adventure might just inspire your next homeschool journey. Let's take a look at our first win.
Our first win was having the planning flexibility, which always equals less stress, which we did. It took us a little bit to figure that out, but it did ultimately happen. We had a plan for sure, but we learned that life on the road doesn't always follow that map. And when plans changed, we tried our best to just roll with it. That flexibility turned stressful moments into spontaneous memories. And I think our kids taught me that, because that's a problem. Like, just a little pet peeve I have is like when I have a plan, I want to stick to it. And if it doesn't work, I don't really want to divert off of it.
So a lot of our plans changed because of the government shutdown. And we kind of realized that as we went through the trip, and some of the visitor centers were closed, for example. We were really excited about doing the Junior Ranger badges, and unfortunately we couldn't do that at like 2 or 3 of the parks. So that was pretty disappointing actually for the kids. Trails were closed at Mesa Verde. That place was like completely shut down. We couldn't even walk on the trails. I've never seen that before where that shut down. We couldn't see Eclipse Palace. Like I think we got notified
7 o'clock the night before our tour.
7 p.m. the night before our tour that it was canceled.
Yeah.
Which was like a big reason why we went to Mesa Verde in the first place and why we stayed at the hotel. But anyway, despite all that, we still found ways to experience the beauty and the awe of the national parks, specifically Mesa Verde. I think we tried to make the best of it. And we made notes about places that we wanted to come back to. And definitely this time we'll make sure there's like no way that there's a government shutdown.
I know. Hold your plans as loosely as you can. Those best moments, sometimes they aren't planned and they're kind of like the in-betweens. Always leave 1 open day per week for surprises, and that's something, again, we learned, and that we kind of...
Yeah, even for like a rainy day.
Right.
Which we did have a few.
We had a few on driving days, and then have a plan B and sometimes a plan C.
Okay, number 2, making the car a home. This is definitely, I feel like we bonded. We bought the 12-passenger Ford Transit. We bought it before the trip, like specifically for the trip. And with 6 of us on the road, our van definitely became our home base, and where we probably spent most of the consistent time. I guess it really was our home. It was the common place despite all the places that we visited throughout the trip. So everybody had their own bin, their favorite snacks, and their own little corner. Once we made it comfortable, the car went from chaos to cozy, and I think once we added some devices, some movies, different things. So.
And then we switched around some of the car seats.
Yeah, it got better throughout the trip, but honestly the first 1 or 2 days of driving like 5 or 6 hours was pretty rough for all of us. Would you say?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then it got better throughout the trip, and we kind of learned how to manage it and anticipate that.
So remember, your organization plus your comfort can equal happy travelers. Create a family playlist, whether that be for movies or songs or books.
Audiobooks.
Yeah, and let everyone kind of pick and add so that everyone feels like they're accounted for. Keep a snack box within easy reach. We did try to do this. We had like little dividers, and the kids had their own snack box, so Jared or I could easily reach for it and give it to them. Give them a small tote for their own stuff, which we did too. They each had like little zipper pouches with their activities in it, so they could pull it if they wanted to. And then a blanket or a pillow. They use their stuffies sometimes, their animals, for that comfort. We struggled with finding ways to really make them comfortable if they slept, because you can't really put anything on the car seats, because then it becomes like a hazard to them. So
yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
I
was just thinking about this. We also had a trash can, which seems kind of simple, but like a decent sized trash can within the car,
like
so that we could just
small one
toss
from
stuff in there.
Walmart.
Okay, number 3, embracing the unexpected. This one can be challenging at times. Things on our trip didn't always go as planned, despite our best efforts, and that was okay. We got caught in some storms. We took some wrong turns. We probably missed some turns during like GPS outage where we didn't even know that we missed the turn, and it cost us probably a couple hours. Government shutdowns, as we already talked about a little bit, and we even had some different issues with our tires and like tire pressure, trying to get that right and even throughout the trip. But every time something went wrong, it gave us a good opportunity to add to the story and experience something that we'll never forget.
So when things go off script, that's when they're made, those memories are made. So make sure that you just remind yourself of that and kind of keep that as your mantra, and every wrong turn can lead to that right memory. So keep those snacks and the good attitudes. That was what we needed to remind ourselves. The good attitudes handy because they both can help in emergencies. I think we'll go through it throughout our whole adventure, but document that chaos, because one day you'll look back and really remember that, and your kids will remember that, and it'll become part of their story, and then it'll kind of like transpire into something else. So
that's something I think we didn't do that well, is like when things got kind of chaotic, I think we just got frustrated, and I wish I would have almost pulled out the camera and like captured that a little bit. I know that sounds mean,
but I think it's real life.
And also we could share that with you guys, because I think a lot of our friends have asked us, how afterwards, how did it go? And then before we went on the trip, they were wondering how our kids would kind of get along, and how we all would get along on the really long drives especially. So number 3 is finding solitude. This is one of my favorites. So avoiding the crowds and exploring the remote trails. This might not sound like a win, but it is a win.
A big win too.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is like some of our favorite stops weren't the most famous ones or the most well-known. They were the quiet trails. They were tucked away maybe on some hard to get roads and some things where you needed like a 4-wheel drive kind of vehicle, which we didn't really have.
No, but you couldn't have just a low rider trying to get through the creek that was crossing on the Tall Tree Grove.
Yeah, so places that were a little harder to get to, required some more effort, required some reservations ahead of time, some planning. I think looking back, those are some of our favorite things that we did. And then finding like peaceful campsites where we had nature all to ourselves, and we didn't have tons and tons of people, and it didn't feel like an amusement park or like we're at Disney World, where it did a few times at some of the national parks.
Especially Yosemite, and we went on.
Yeah,
we went on a weekend, a Saturday, and then I think everybody was just coming out, and then it was the government shutdown, so nobody had to pay to get in the park, so it was just like a free park to get in, and so it definitely was a lot of people. And I think what you'll see in our tips, and the first one, just picking different trails that aren't necessarily the most popular. At Yosemite, we picked Yosemite Falls, where we should have probably picked Mariposa Grove. It was a little further out and you had to drive to it, or you had to walk longer to get to it, where Yosemite Falls was like right there. Yeah. And it was I think it's the more popular trail.
One other thing I was thinking about is like maybe ones that are a little more difficult too. Because we have the kids, we picked some easier trails in the beginning, and I think that probably was a little bit of a mistake, because then everybody can go on that trail. Yeah. So do something maybe is a little more difficult, a little more remote.
Yeah, and then maybe a little less maintained, like the trail itself.
Yeah.
You can ask locals about lesser known trails. That's kind of how we found out a little bit about Tall Tree Grove, and Fern Canyon in the Redwoods is pretty well known, but Tall Tree Grove you have to have a permit to get to, and luckily we found out about that several months in advance. Avoid the weekends, which we tried to do, and of course like Yosemite was like the only one. I think it was the only one that we didn't do, and it just happened that was the timing that we needed to have in order to get there. And then also the busy times of year. We chose fall, which is a little less busy than summer. So definitely make sure that you kind of plan your trip based on either knowing that and being okay with it, or wanting something a little different.
So I think on the weekends, like I wish in retrospect we would have gone to the national parks on the weekdays as much as possible. And then on the weekends, try to do just something like basic. Almost do that like your day that you can recoup and relax, refuel, go to the grocery store, that kind of thing. So in the future, as much as possible, we're gonna try to do that.
Yep.
All right, tip number 5, the final tip in this video, capturing the memories. This is probably one of the most important ones for us at the end of the day. And documenting everything along the way. I think we definitely could have done a better job, but we did take photos. We recorded clips at a lot of the different parks and things we had along the way. We even let the kids film part of the trips, which we'll be sharing with you guys throughout this series. And now we get to relive those moments anytime, and in the future, many, many years from now, we'll be able to look back and laugh with the kids and remember all the things, all the adventures that we had together. And it's also kind of fun to see how the kids grow, even looking at it like 2 years from now, and then listen to the way they talk and the way they laugh.
Make sure to hand the camera to your kids if you have them, and allow them to share what the trip looks like through their eyes. I think that is something that I'd like to do more moving forward, even just in our regular life, allowing them to show us what they see from their point of view. And then even like writing down one funny or meaningful moment of every day, or maybe it's of every stop that you make, so that you can remember that. Or even like, I think even videotaping it more so than just writing it down, so that you can capture that moment instead of just trying to remember when you come back home, or even forgetting about it.
It's hard. It's hard to keep it all separate in your head, and all the different memories and all the different places.
And I think also I'm learning with photos, they don't have to be perfect. I think capturing the chaos and the everyday moments and just the simple small moments are worth everything. And then also, a big point, back up your footage every few days. I think if you don't, then it just bogs down, and then you'll spend forever waiting on your phone to upload those to a cloud device.
Yeah, so you'll either have like your phone will be full, you won't have any storage left, or maybe you'll lose some of the footage.
Yeah, so make sure you back that up. So those are our big 5 wins from our over 7,000 mile family road trip adventure. It wasn't always easy, but it was the kind of adventure that changes you. I feel like it changed me. I feel like it did change the kids.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're dreaming about hitting the road with your family, definitely go for it. Don't question it. I think we've questioned it for several years.
Like questioning if the kids are ready.
Yeah.
Especially Sullivan.
Yeah, but I think you can find ways to make those things work. I mean, he was in the hiking backpack for most of the time, but it worked, and we were able to experience it all together. And I think moving forward, we won't question it. We'll just do it, because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So the journey is where that magic happens. So we want you guys to come along with us as we chase big adventures, little moments, and a whole lot of memories in between. So buckle up, subscribe, and join us for the ride.
Bye, guys.
We'll
see you next
later.
week.
Here it comes. Watch out.
Oh, got right in the butt.